And welcome to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Lavian Cupid, and thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're viewing us via either of our social media handles or you're watching us on YouTube or Digicel or AMPLIA or Flow, thank you so much for always choosing us to wake you up on a morning. It is Monday, the 15th of December. We are 10 days away from the Yuletide season. Well, we're in the Yuletide season, but from Christmas Day itself. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Yes, we are into the election season, the Tobago House of Assembly election season. But are your fruits soaking? How merry are you? We are coming to you live from downtown Port Moss, Scarborough, Tobago. And yes, indeed, always a pleasure to be seated here before you. So much happening in Trinidad and Tobago, but in Tobago right here in particular. And I am here to bring you updated with all things current affairs. We're here to have all the conversations that you want to hear and ask all the questions that you want answered as we dive into the Tobago House of Assembly election carded for Monday, January 12th, 2026. We know that political parties are on the ground. They are walking about, they are campaigning. Every night there's a political meeting in some community of sorts. And so we right here on Tobago Updates Television, we are pleased. It is definitely our pleasure to bring you all that information. All right. So as I say, bringing you all that information, let me take you right into the morning brief as we start our day. On Saturday evening, the People's National Movement gathered at the Magdalena Grand Golf and Beach Resort for the official campaign launch and the launch of its prospective candidates ahead of the Tobago House of Assembly election. Speaking to a ballroom packed with supporters, political leader of the Tobago Council, Ansel Dennis, said the party's comprehensive manifesto will be released to the public in exactly 8 days from that date, some of which included 7,000 new jobs and infrastructure plans. Also addressing the crowd was Minority Leader Kelvon Morris, who urged former PNM members, now turned TPP, Keegan Denoon, Natisha Charles Pantin, Nigel Tate, and Member of Parliament for Tobago West, Joel Knudsen Sampson, to return to the fold and serve under the People's National Movement. Meanwhile, party political leader and opposition leader Penelope Beckles sent a stern warning to Chief Secretary Farley Augustine to stay clear of the PNM's business. The party has since released its scheduled district nightly political meetings. A lot happening there in the PNM camp. I see a lot of persons have a lot to say online about the turnout at Magdalena on a Saturday. Well, the season is heating up, and so supporters from respective parties are turning out to support. Staying on news of politics, the Council for Responsible Political Behavior has announced its intention to monitor the Tobago House of Assembly 2026 election campaign, to evaluate all political parties, candidates and their supporters' adherence to the Code of Ethical Political Conduct. In a media release dated Saturday, December 13th, the Council said beginning Monday, December 15th, that's today, it will begin the process. Now we know the council for responsibility for political behavior. It is not a government institution. So I remember last election, the general election, the UNC would have withdrawn from the council, and so I do hope that we have a clean one. You know, Tobago is clean, green, safe, and serene. I'm hoping that we have a clean one. We have nomination day coming this Friday. We're hoping that parties could coordinate, and so we don't have clashes and we don't have unethical behaviors. But I hope that supporters are listening, that the adherence to the Code of Ethical Political Conduct also goes to supporters, and it also goes to your social media behavior. So some interesting news there. In some unfortunate news, on the island, Tobago police have launched an investigation following the discovery of a man's body in Buku on Saturday morning. The deceased has been identified as 47-year-old Lyndon DeLeon, a resident of the area. According to initial reports, DeLeon's body was discovered along the roadway near Belmar Trace Extension in Buku. Officers are currently conducting inquiries to determine the circumstances surrounding the death. More details will be provided as information comes at hand in a subsequent newscast. Condolences goes out to his family. A well-known tour guide contributed a lot to our tourism sector, and so it's a hell of a loss we're facing there as an island. Yeah. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar on Friday handed over additional restored vehicles to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, strengthening police operations ahead of the Christmas season. The handover brings the government closer to its goal of delivering 50 restored police vehicles before Christmas to improve response times and visibility. Persad-Bissessar was joined by Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander, Commissioner of Police Alista Guevara, and other officials. Alexander said the faster return of vehicles addresses long-standing fleet issues and must result in stronger underground policing, while Guevara confirmed the vehicles will be deployed immediately across TTPS divisions. Meanwhile, on the island, the Tobago division launched its 12 days of Christmas community outreach, offering free shuttle service to the public. The initiative was greatly appreciated by members of the community. Restored police vehicles. I think for years we've been having this conversation. A plethora of vehicles just left. I think we named it the graveyard, right? Police vehicle graveyard. And so it's always good news to see that we have resources being restored, money being saved. It is a tighten your belt type of time. Taking a look regionally, a step in the right direction for regional tourism. Inter-Caribbean Airways has officially launched its scheduled service from Barbados. The airline, which has been operating in Guyana through the Cherry Jagan International Airport, serves Caribbean islands that are often underserved by major airlines. To mark the launch of the Ogle service, the airline dedicated its specially painted Spirit of Guyana aircraft. The Spirit of Guyana aircraft features the Guyana flag prominently on its tail and bears the name Spirit of Guyana on its nose, celebrating the nation's heritage as it serves routes across the Inter-Caribbean network. Always some good news. We always need more flights. I know that that's an airline based out there in Turks and Caicos, not yet operational in Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, we do have our homegrown Caribbean airlines, but whenever the air bridge is jammed, another airline is always welcomed. And finally, internationally, in Australia, in some more unfortunate news this morning of a mass shooting. At least 16 people have been killed and almost 30 more injured after two gunmen opened fire at Bondi Beach yesterday on a popular Jewish holiday, triggering panic and major emergency response. Police were called to reports of gunfire shortly after 6:40 p.m. with hundreds of people fleeing the popular beach as officers raced to the scene. Footage from the area showed two men dressed in black firing what appeared to be high-powered guns from atop a footbridge behind the Bondi Surf Club. The area was placed on lockdown as emergency services secured the scene and searched for gunmen. A large presence remains at Bondi Beach and the public has been urged to avoid the area. A horror we never ever hope to see anywhere in the Caribbean, and a horror that we never want to see anywhere. A mass shooting. Imagine walking about your merry business and bullets just start to fly at random. It's always a sad thing. It even ties right back to our stand your ground laws and the availability of guns to citizens. That was also a major issue. Will we turn into the wild, wild west with persons with mental health issues or even politically motivated, or however you feel disgruntled, use weapons now to take out their frustrations on the public. So never something you want to hear, but that was your update right here on Sunrise, bringing you updated with all things current affairs locally, regionally, and internationally. Remember, Sunrise is that hard-hitting early morning show on all things current affairs right here on Tobago Updates Television. As always, it is our pleasure to bring you all the information that you need and have all the conversations, especially as we head into the Tobago House of Assembly election. This morning, we're going to have quite an interesting conversation. So we know that political parties have been on the podium It's campaign time. A lot is being said, especially on the front of the two major political parties here on the island, which is the Tobago People's Party and the People's National Movement. But was zoning in this morning on what the Chief Secretary, Fali Augustine, had to say. But even earlier, preceding the Chief Sec, we would have had incumbent Assemblyman for Lowlands, for Lambo Lowlands, Wayne Wasp Clark, even making the same utterances. And the topic started off with the $900 million that they would have in debt that they would have inherited when they assumed office on December 7th, 2021. But even so, the Chief Secretary spoke to contracts that were given out, road works that were done, roads that were incomplete, even though there was a certification of completion. And he spoke about he would have had letters sent out, pre-action protocol letters sent out. But we want to dive in further, because I think every election we have these conversations. We hear about previous administrations that probably would have been misconduct, missteps, or right out fraudulent behavior. But then we never see anyone being brought to the courts. We've never had anybody prosecuted. So where does that leave us? What does that leave public trust? What is the procedures? Could it be done? Will we live in a time where we see public officials being brought before the courts and possibly even the public being able to get back those resources that were possibly stolen, that those allegations are serious allegations? So this morning we'll be talking to none other than prominent attorney at law, Mr. Martin George, and he will be diving into that topic with us. But we're going to go for a quick break. We're going to give you a clip and bring you up to speed with what's happening. All right, again, I want to thank you so much for choosing Sunrise, choosing Tobago Updates Television. We have so much in store for you. In the meantime, I want you to do me a favor and share the live, and do enjoy our aerial view outside, because our technical crew is crazy this morning. It's a lot. Tobago is beautiful. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Roxborough. Good morning to my mom up there in Roxborough. Good morning, Countryside. Good morning, Plymouth. Good morning, Charlottesville. Good morning, Bethel. Good morning, Crown Point, Tobago. You are indeed beautiful. We'll be right back.
Santa isn't the only one checking his list. At Lambo Credit Union, we're helping you give the gift that truly lasts. Introducing our Christmas Share Certificates. A gift of saving, a gift of security, a gift of love. Whether you're starting small or saving big, every share brings you closer to your dreams. Share Certificates starts as low as $100 up to $1,000 in share value. A Christmas Share Certificate isn't just a gift, it's a legacy, a promise, a head start for the ones you love. Give the gift of financial freedom this Christmas. Visit either branch of the Lambo Credit Union or call us at 639-5060 to learn more today. Lambo Credit Union, always here for you.
Deltec Distributors Christmas Specials is here. Choose from our festive meat packages at unbeatable prices, perfect for your holiday feast. Hurry! Limited packages. Order now. Package 1, $4.99. 11 pounds of leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 1-liter pear jacks. Package 2, $4.99. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey cubes, 1 chicken ham, 1 1-liter pear jacks. Package 3, $600. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey wings, 1 whole turkey, 1 1-liter pear jack. Package 4, $535. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey wings, 3 pounds fish ham, 1 1-liter pear jack. For 359-5040 or 237-0102. Delivery available for just $20. Deltec Distributors, Main Road, Argyle, Tobago.
Tobago. This coming Wednesday, 17th December, is the last day to buy your winning ticket for the Queen's Royal College 3-car raffle.
I want a piece of pork. I want a piece of pork from the Christmas.
For First prize is a luxurious, fully loaded Royal Ride. Ford Ranger. Draw date Saturday, December 20th at the school. Tickets only $100. All proceeds for the further uplifting of the school. Tickets available from islandetickets.com. Stumpy's Emporium Canaan. Cad Supermarket Lowlands. Terry Brown Supermarket Mount Pleasant. Pablo Supermarket Argyle. Miles Almondo's and Company Limited Scarborough. Yachts Marketing. TV Mart Bonaccord. Cost Cutters. Sharon Bookstores Lowlands. Police Credit Union. Caribbean Jewelers Lowlands. Jade Monkey Bar Milford Road Crown Point.
Don't be lucky and coward. Get your tickets now.
Queens Royal College Christmas 3-car raffle.
Beautiful Tobago, Scarborough. We're seeing right over Shore Park. Viewers, welcome back to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. Such beautiful views. Again, kudos goes out to our technical crew. We're going to dive right into it and take you to this clip from the Bethesda Lescotto Tobago People's Party political meeting. Take a look at this clip.
Fix that now. Over $900 million in debt. And I want you to understand how governance does work. The decision we have to make as a government is to decide if we are going to pay every single cent of that debt every single year and do no development work whatsoever, or we will pay little by little and still do some development work. I want you to also understand, Tobago, what 900 plus million in debt looks like. On an average, we get about $250 million for development expenditure. 900 million mean that is 1 fiscal year, 2 fiscal year, 3 fiscal year, and you still need a 4th fiscal year to cover that entire debt totally. And on top of that, when we look through the files, we saw that the former regime took a loan, a massive loan. They pulled out $165 million. They claimed that we had emergency road works to be done because of inclement weather. They gave out contracts to their friends willy-nilly. They spent out the $165 million. Then they still gave out more contracts on top of that. Because remember, they were hoping to retain the THC and win the election. But they spend all the money and still get their ass cut. And come January 12th, they could bring up all the financiers from Trinidad. They could bring up Penny from Trinidad. They could bring out Rowley from retirement. They could bring out whoever they want. They will get their backside cut come the 12th of January 2026, same way. Anyhow they swing his licks they get in. And so they spent out the $165 million, and then they issue out a set of contracts as design build finance. What design build finance means is that you're doing the work for free, and then the THA will pay you on the back end. When we
All right, so that was Chief Secretary Fali Augustine speaking about issues that he claims his administration met when they got into office. Speaking with us this morning is attorney at law, Martin George. Good morning, Mr. George, and thank you so much for joining us.
To you, and it's a pleasure to be here to share thoughts and insights with you.
All right, indeed. So we're diving right into it. The Chief Secretary would have also spoken to, he said, road works that were done. Certificate of completion. When they went to investigate, the material that they claimed they used was not used. In some cases, the road wasn't there. We often have sitting administrations levying these sorts of accusations. And I mean, this has been happening for decades. on the previous administration. I think we could coin Trinidad and Tobago the country of commission of inquiries. We have commission of inquiries. We have a plethora of them. And we have no idea where they sit. They go to the inquiry graveyard and they sit there. We have these accusations being made. We've never seen a politician in handcuffs. I mean, except for recently, we would have had Mr. Lee or one or two, but it never really goes anywhere. At what point, sir, do we consider these political attacks, or at what point do we say there is an investigation to be had here and it should be taken seriously?
Well, the thing is, if one really looks at the history of Trinidad and Tobago, unfortunately, it's a history of corruption, particularly when it comes to public procurement and the spending of, the nation's purse. We can go as far back as the days of, the Jean Miles and the gas station racket. Remember, she was the whistleblower then, even though the term wasn't popular, in that time. But, the racket that was going on with the gas station contracts, she's the one who blew the whistle, and he suffered tremendously for so doing. You think back to the Lockheed Martin scandal with the pipes for Wassa that they were supposed to put down, and I mean, you go on and on. The Piarco Airport corruption scandal, Caroni 1975, you had scandals with BWIA, that's before it became CAL, so I mean, the point is, unfortunately, we've had a very sad history of, public officials abusing the power that they have and, dipping into the public purse and, profiting for themselves. And the reality is that what we have seen in Trinidad and Tobago is basically a revolving door, in the sense that you have one administration in power and they blame the previous administration and say, well, they have stolen money, they have done this, that, the other, and then when they are out of power, then the incoming administration says the same thing about them, and it's almost as if we in Trinidad and Tobago seem to take it for a big joke. But the reality is we are actually damaging the patrimony of the nation, and we are really, doing a disservice to the future of our young people and our children, because you ask yourself, what sort of nation will they inherit if we continue with this, unabated corruption at, these phenomenal levels? So it really is a question that needs to be, looked at seriously, and people in Trinidad and Tobago need to confront our politicians, our leaders about these issues and ensure that something is done. I mean, and you are quite right when you speak about, the further wastage of public funds, which usually follows these things, with either a commission of inquiry that goes on and on forever. You look at the CL Financial, Clico, commission of inquiry that just went on and on and on, and billions of dollars spent again, chasing down billions of dollars, none of which you actually ever recovered. If you understand me, you look also even at the prosecution of the Piarco airport matters, because, I mean, in fact, those matters were so huge and cumbersome, they were in phases. You had the Piarco Airport 1 series of trials and prosecutions, the Piarco Airport 2, and then you had Piarco Airport 3. So I mean, that's to tell you, and I mean, the reality is that they just get lost in, numerous legal maneuvers and, applications filed and appeals filed, and you go all the way to the Privy Council, and then you come back down and you just keep, going around and around in circles. And you are quite right, because the public then feels, well, look, it is just a further game being played in terms of, giving the appearance of trying to do something about it rather than really being serious. Because if you recall, with regard to the Piarco Airport matters, in terms of certain matters concerning Mr. Ishgalbaran Singh, the former Attorney General, Anand Ramlogan, as he then was, he said, well, look, in terms of these matters with Mr. Ishgalbaran Singh and Steve Ferguson, he's going to discontinue the fight because they seem to be dragging it on and on. I mean, and you ask yourself, you question that decision, as to why that would be done when you've already invested so much time, effort, and money into trying to prosecute these men.
But even as we speak about Commission of Inquiries and Audit, so the Chief Secretary said that an audit was done. So an audit was done, but yet he said pre-action protocol letters was sent to former assemblymen, one of which would have responded. My question to you, Mr. George, this morning, if an audit was done, misconduct was found, why are we looking to attorneys and not the TTPS?
Well, the point is, it may be that as a precaution, they wished to invite the individual to give a response first before, making it an official allegation, because you have two aspects of matters such as these. You have the criminal prosecution, which of course, yes, is in the hands of the DPP, but you also have the civil recovery of the debt. So in other words, separate and apart from whether the DPP wishes to charge or not charge or pursue or not pursue the matter, you as the person in charge of the administration, you have the ability to say, hey, listen, I'm sending you a pre-action protocol letter because it appears that, these monies are not properly accounted for as a result of this audit. And we're asking you to, give an explanation or repay the monies as a civil debt. So you have two streams that you can pursue, the civil aspect and the criminal aspect. And on that note, I'll just tell you, if you recall, in the Piarco Airport matter, there was a judgment that the state won for over $100 and something million US against the defendants in the Piarco Airport matter. That was in the Miami court. So therefore, you had the civil aspect where the state did win some monies, but the criminal aspect, they are still, yet to produce any tangible results in that regard.
All right, Mr. George, I want to ask you, though, as we are on both the legal and civil aspect of a matter like this, is there a standard of evidence that must be presented in order to move forward with a matter like this criminally?
Right. So the thing is, it's the type of thing where the evidence is supposed to be, first of all, looked at by the police authorities. And then when they sift through and they go through everything, they would then decide, well, hey, look, yes, this looks like something serious. They would report it to the office of the DPP, where one of the officers from the DPP's office, or maybe the DPP himself, may look at the matter, and they may say, well, look, we need more evidence on this aspect, go back and get this, go and get a statement from this one, that kind of thing. And in that regard, when they look at it again, if they are satisfied that it appears to be a case that can be brought to a successful conclusion in terms of a prosecution, then the decision would normally be taken either to charge or, not charge based upon the standard and quality of the evidence. But that's at that level. Now, when you get to court, all right, you have, our procedure has now changed because of what is called a JIPA. All right, so that's the new procedure that we are under, because remember, we went to great lengths to abolish the whole idea of the preliminary inquiries. Because if you think back, in terms of the Piarco Airport scandal, what occurred is all the proceedings in the preliminary inquiry. That's where, there were so many delays and adjournments and so many challenges by way of judicial review. You had appeals. So in other words, that entire preliminary inquiry process, which caused so many delays there, that has been eliminated in the JIPA. And basically you have what is called a sufficiency hearing, which occurs before a master of the High Court, where the master basically does an assessment of the evidence on paper, and once the master is satisfied that you have basically on a balance of probabilities that it looks that, you have more than a reasonable chance of successful prosecution, then the master would normally make a decision to say, well, look, hey, let me send this matter forward for trial, all right? And then, of course, at the trial in the High Court, your standard of proof is the normal standard for any criminal prosecution, which is proof beyond reasonable doubt. So it's a higher standard there at the trial. So the point is, the burden of proof is not an easy challenge or hurdle to overcome, but the point is it can be overcome successfully, because if you think back even again to the same Piaco Airport scandal matters, you recall the two U.S. persons who were involved in that, Burke Hillman, and Gutierrez, right? The two of them, they were prosecuted in the U.S., convicted, and served their sentences in the U.S., and still the trials in Trinidad and Tobago had not even begun at the High Court level. They were still at the preliminary inquiry stage. So it's possible to get convictions, but of course, it depends on how efficient and effective your judicial system is able to function.
So, you just said, and still in Trinidad and Tobago, we were still at the preliminary inquiries, part of the investigation. I want to speak to civilians, to citizens in this scenario, because you're listening on, whether you have a political affiliation or not, but you're listening on, and you would hear in the corners, by the shops down the road, by the street corner down the road, by the neighbor that line with the other neighbor, and you would often hear comments being made, this one thief, that one thief. I want to talk about public trust, confidence in administrations moving forward, in the police service, and the effects that these random statements, probably they're not random, that being said on podiums, but also these inquiries and audits because I could imagine the cost to pay, let's just say Price Waterhouse, to do an audit like that. And so we're losing more resources, accumulated on the resources you say we have lost under the previous administration. Again, keeping in mind that these are all allegations, no proof has been made. But what are your thoughts on the public trust and where that leaves the public?
Well, I think public trust and confidence in these scenarios is at an all-time low, and that's because the public generally feels that it's just a great game. Because, in other words, it has become reduced to political shenanigans. And, it's being used for, to score political points rather than any serious pursuit of, truth and justice and, ensuring that, you recover monies for the public. So I think generally the population looks at it, with, some sort of, skepticism when they hear these allegations, because, in other words, as I say, the history of Trinidad and Tobago has been that, while one administration is in power, yes, they make these allegations, but then when they are out of power, the incoming administration makes the same allegations against them. And the point is, it seems to be like, a secret code between the politicians. Well, yes, okay, today, it's like, when you were children, they used to have a saying, one day for police, one day for thief. And it looks like that's the game that is being played by our political parties, like, okay, all right, so I am police today, you are thief tomorrow, and then, the next day we switch roles, and, it's just like a game. And the public really feels that nothing serious or tangible is being done. And, the sad thing about it is we are slowly slipping into a culture almost of acceptance of this as the norm. And that's the danger we face here in Trinidad and Tobago. In other words, when the public becomes so frustrated and numb and apathetic to the ongoing saga of corruption by our politicians, then the politicians, they have free rein to continue, because as far as they're concerned, people will only grumble and, mumble and talk about it in the rum shop or on the street corners or in the parlor, but they're not going to agitate really and do anything serious and tangible about it. So, you really have to ask yourself, is this the quality of life we want to leave as our legacy for Trinidad and Tobago? Is this the quality of life we want for our children, for our future? Or do we want persons who would be visionary leaders, as you saw, in Rwanda, where President Kagame, where he was able to turn around a nation, that had been ripped apart by, genocide and, hundreds of thousands of citizens being slaughtered and murdered. And, the streets were soaked in blood because of the internal fighting between the Tutsis and the Hutus. And he was able to come into office and turn that nation around, where Rwanda is now a jewel in the crown of Africa. It's been cited by the United Nations and other, international organizations as a model of how you govern a place, because he came in and he said, hey, listen, okay, all of this happened in the past. We are setting a new tone, a new pace, a new direction. He has actually implemented programs where on every Saturday, persons have to clean up their streets, their neighborhoods. And the point is, at first there was resistance, but now everybody has bought into it and everybody is participating because they're so proud of how their nation is now.
Yeah. But I think, and you let me know what you think here, Mr. George, citizens, human beings, we are always looking for a savior, for a change. Like, we see something going wrong, what is it? And so Tobago 4 years ago would have looked to the Tobago People's Party, where the then Progressive Democratic Patriots.
Well, it would have been PDP at that time.
Yes, right, the PDP at that time. And, you even spoke to the legacy we are leaving for our children, grandchildren to come. But now we have a fresh band of persons, and we have quite a few younger persons. And yet we have the People's National Movement who are in opposition at this point in time. And they have not even gone in to do an audit, but they are levying the same accusations. We're hearing about contractors from Trinidad. We're hearing about kickbacks that possibly would have come back to Tobago, and that is why it have to go to Trinidad. And so it leaves the people in a position that we're spinning top in mud, are we going nowhere? So, Mr. George, as we close here now, tell me, I want you to tell persons, tell the public, how should they decipher or differ when it's just political nonsense, or when there is really a serious case and a matter here that their resources, and I think people don't really understand that those monies belong to them and the future of their children, right? When it's just political nonsense and political game, or there's a serious matter at hand that doesn't matter your political affiliation, you need to stand your ground to get politicians, government officials before the court prosecuted and be able to regain these lost resources.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you see, it becomes a part of your ethos if it is that you start accepting these things as the norm. And that's the challenge we face in Trinidad and Tobago, to get the average citizen to understand that, look, hey, this ought not to be the norm. This is not the way things are supposed to be. This is not the way you build a country or build a nation. You have to start holding people accountable for their actions, particularly when they are in, high office. Now, I mean, a good start has been the public procurement legislation, which has been passed and enacted. And I mean, of course, once persons adhere to those regulations, then of course, I think it would help to streamline the processes, because you have a rigorous screening process, rigorous requirements under that legislation. So that is one good start. But we, the members of the public, have to be even more vigilant, and we need to be a little more serious. I mean, of course, we are, as Trinbagonians, we are persons, where we say we are a land of humor and rumor, and of course that's good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a time when we have to start looking at things seriously, taking things seriously, and understanding that, look, hey, this impacts me personally. This impacts my children. This impacts our future, because not everybody has the option of simply packing their bags and saying, well, look, I'm flying off to Miami or, Canada to migrate and let Trinidad and Tobago, it's like, as they say, if the city burned down, we jamming still, as Maximus Dan sang in his song, so the point is we have to understand that we, the citizens, have a responsibility to hold our politicians to account, and the way the politicians actually feel that is when you vote and you show them either your dissatisfaction with them or maybe your satisfaction that, look, yes, they are on the right track.
I love that note that you ended there with, Mr. Joe. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you here at Tobago Updates Television.
Indeed.
And your first time on Sunrise. Welcome. We'll be having you back again, as always. Wishing you a pleasant day, and thank you so much.
It's a pleasure as always.
All right,
and good morning to you.
We were talking to prominent attorney at law, Martin George, there on alleged fraud in previous administrations. We're going to take a deep dive into that conversation, because long have we passed the time where we just throw it around like a football. If there's somebody that needs to be held accountable, if we need to see a politician in handcuffs, it's time for that. We can't be throwing these accusations around all the time without coming to definitive ends, all right? So here on Sunrise, again, that had hitting political, well, not political, but current affairs show, where we will be taking you through all the way to the Tobago House of Assembly election. But that's it this morning, guys, for Sunrise. But you know, right here on Tobago Updates Television, the programming is never done. We head on over to the morning show with the lovely Renessa and Akin Labi. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Labian.
How are you?
I am well. A lot happening in our space, in our beautiful little island of Tobago.
Well, you know, this is the season. We have politics coming up, elections coming up, I should say. So everyone wants to have their say on the issues that are affecting the island. And to an extent, the nation at large, seeing that Trinidad and Tobago finds themselves stuck in the middle of geopolitical tensions and sticky situations. So, yeah, we have a lot to talk about on the island.
Oh yeah, I know we'll have a lovely lineup for the viewers this morning. Renessa, how was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend was really peaceful. I know this weekend as well, they had the fight night here at the Portmore car park. I got to glimpse it just a little bit. It was very entertaining and interesting. Something to take you out of the whole political season as well, just to give your mind a little breather.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, guys, I want to wish you a wonderful day and a great show. Viewers, you'll be seeing Sunrise again tomorrow morning at 6:15 a.m. Be sure to tune in right here. We have lots in store for you, taking you right over to the morning show. Have a beautiful day.
Welcome to Belgro's Funeral Home, where we celebrate life's precious moments. From the moment you enter our doors, you're met with kindness and care. Our reception area is designed to be more than just a waiting room. It is a place of calm, thoughtfully created to ease the weight of grief. In our private conference room, conversations are guided by empathy. Here, our client experience coordinators sit beside you, not just across the table to help plan a service that truly reflects your loved one's story. Whether it's a traditional farewell or a personalized celebration of life, we take time to understand your wishes and offer thoughtful guidance. At the heart of our organization is a dedicated manager who ensures that everything runs smoothly, from the smallest detail to the final farewell. We understand that choosing a casket or a coffin is a deeply personal decision. In our selection room, we provide a calm, respectful environment where families can take their time and explore options that reflect their loved one's life, beliefs, and preference. Our spacious chapel is where memories are honored and lives are celebrated. Designed with serenity and warmth, it provides a welcoming space for families and friends to come together in reflection and remembrance. For families choosing cremation, We offer on-site professional cremation services in a setting that upholds dignity, peace, and confidentiality. Our crematorium offers a seamless and respectful alternative to traditional burial, giving families flexibility while maintaining the highest standard of care.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show. Today is Monday, December 15th, 2025. Yes, we are halfway through the last month of the year. I hope that you're up. I am your host, Akinoabi Holder, and you're ready to go. You're ready to tackle the week and the day ahead. We have so much to discuss. We started off the morning really strong with Sunrise Tobago, having some serious conversations there, and we hope to carry on those serious conversations that you love to be a part of here on the morning show. I am accompanied by none other than the lovely Renessa Ortiz this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Akinabi. Good morning to our viewers. As you said this morning, Sunrise had some hard-hitting conversations, especially when you talk about accountability of the funds that are given to the administration. And it was really interesting to listen to what the attorney at law, Martin George, had to say about it this morning.
Yes, and we're going to continue those conversations that impact us very dearly here in Tobago. But before we get into any of those discourses, we head on over to our news in 90 seconds.
And here's what's making news in 90 seconds for Monday, December 15th, 2025. On Saturday evening, the People's National Movement gathered at the Magdalena Grand Golf and Beach Resort for the official campaign launch and the launch of its prospective candidates ahead of the Tobago House of Assembly election. Speaking to a ballroom packed with supporters, political leader of the Tobago Council, Ansel K. Dennis, said the party's comprehensive manifesto will be released to the public in exactly 8 days from that date, some of which included 7,000 new jobs and infrastructural plans. Also addressing the crowd was Minority Leader Kelvon Morris, who urged former PNM members, now turned TPP, Keegan Denoon, Natisha Charles Pantin, Nigel Tate, and Member of Parliament Joel Nutsi Sampson to return to the fold and serve under the People's National Movement. Meanwhile, party political leader and opposition leader Penelope Beckles sent a stern warning to Chief Secretary Fali Augustine to stay clear of PNM's business. The party has since released its scheduled district nightly political meetings. Up next, staying on news of politics, the Council for Responsible Political Behavior has announced its intention to monitor the Tobago House of Assembly 2026 election campaign to evaluate all political parties, candidates, and their supporters' adherence to the Code of Ethical Political Conduct. In a media release dated Saturday, December 13th, the Council said beginning Monday, December 15th, it will begin the process. And finally, in some unfortunate news, Tobago police have launched an investigation following the discovery of a man's body in Buku on Saturday morning. The deceased has been identified as 47-year-old Lyndon Dillon, a resident of the area. According to initial reports, Dillon's body was discovered along the roadway near Belmar Trace Extension in Buku. Officers are currently conducting inquiries to determine the circumstances surrounding the death. More details will be provided in a subsequent newscast. These and other stories in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
So we see there the political situation again heating up. PNM had their the meeting last Saturday gone, and revealing the candidates, and they're really starting to launch the campaign in earnest. You know, we are expecting a manifesto from them in 8 days from Saturday, so probably about we have 6 more days to go.
Yes.
I believe that will take us to next week Sunday. I'm really interested, really excited, waiting to see what they're going to offer the people of Tobago. For me, I think that this season both parties have really stepped their game up, and they're going at it very hard.
They are.
And I like to see that. I like to see that both of them taking this very, very seriously. I know the PNM would have started off a bit slow in gradually releasing the candidates, but now that all candidates are out and they've done the official launch of their slate, you could see the energy ramping up within the campaign, the PNM.
And as they've said many times, elections are won on election day.
Elections are won on the day, yes, in truth. But on the other side, you also saw that the TPP, well, the TPP didn't start off slow. The TPP came out with the energy from the very beginning.
Yes.
Yes, they had that energy and fire from the very beginning, and they seem as if they're going to carry through the campaign period. But both parties now they seem to be fully energized, and we wait to see what the outcome will be.
And their commentary on Facebook speaking about they're comparing the election terms with the PNM and the TPP as well.
Yes.
And persons are wondering who is the one that is going to come out at the end. And even though I said elections are won on election day, there are people who would have probably voted for the TPP in the past election, and they are saying no, they didn't see the progress that they were expecting to see. People who would have attended some of these meetings that they would have held prior to being elected into office, and now some of these things were not implemented, or it wasn't implemented to the best of their ability or the way that they would have expected it to be implemented for the people of Tobago. So it's interesting to see how things would unfold in the next couple of days, and especially on election day.
Yes, and I know a lot of persons in 2021, because they were so dissatisfied with the PNM, supporters may have voted for the TPP, and some of them probably just returning home. So we'll see how things work out. And the people in the TPP, they believe that they have done enough to really keep that support and even improve upon that support. I see some of them saying 15-0. I don't know how possible that is. I really think that the PNM will make some inroads in these elections, but we will see how things work out.
Indeed. Now, Akinlabi, we're going over to our birthday shout-outs this morning.
Yes.
It's one of the lighter parts of the morning show. And leading us this morning, we have Miss Alicia Jack. Happy birthday to you from us here at the Tobago Updates family. We hope you have a splendid day. Next up, we have
Derissa Gray. Happy birthday to you, Miss Derissa Gray. This is your special day. God's richest blessings on your birthday. We pray that you take some time out to really reflect on your life and thank God for all the blessings that He has, and all your loved ones to show you with love and care and everything good today. I hope you have some nice birthday cake, drink some champagne, some nice wine, and you go out and have fun, but stay safe. Happy birthday to you.
Up next, we have Miss Callie Neptune. Happy birthday to you. We hope that today is filled with lots of love and prosperity and enjoyment, and that you spend it with those who really would make the day special. And last but certainly not least,
we say happy birthday to Mr. Jonah Elliott. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Jonah Elliott. God's richest blessings. Yes, it's your special day. I know you have loved ones. They're going to treat you real nice. And we hope that you spend it safe. Be safe. You know, the roads these days are wet, and things tend to happen a lot during this heightened season of activity. We want you all to be safe and really take that time off to really center God in everything that you do going forward, and all success to you in the upcoming year.
And that's it for the end of a birthday segment. And to those who didn't make it on our list this morning, we're still wishing you a happy birthday here from the Tobago Updates family. We hope you have a splendid day and spend it with those who really matter.
Yes, indeed. So, Vanessa, who do we have on the show this morning?
So, Akinlabi, this morning we have the TTPS joining us this morning to talk about the crime updates and Christmas safety tips with respect to fraud. We have Sergeant Joseph Jordan joining us. And right after that, we have Mr. Wendell Eversley, social activist, the fight for Dr. Delia Gabriel. And this is going to be the update. This has been a 7-year battle.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting what this conversation would pull out for us. And last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Curtis Daniel.
All right. So we have a very interesting lineup, like I said earlier, to talk about those issues that are very important to us here at Tobago, and even some burning national issues as well. And we want to thank you all for viewing with us, whether it is on our Facebook Live or YouTube channel 102 on Amplia, 121 or 130 on Flow, or 33 on Digicel. Whether you're viewing here in Tobago, Trinidad, the region, or in the wider world, we want to thank you and we want you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, Trinidad and Tobago! Santa Claus is coming to Charon's at Lowlands Mall to stock up on all the goodies for good boys and girls. I'm checking my list, and Charon's has everything I need. Christmas decorations, curtains, toys, and so much more. And the best part? The best prices in town. So hurry down, folks. Visit Charon's today before the shelves are empty. Ho, ho, ho! Charon's at Lowlands Mall, where Christmas shopping starts.
This Christmas, Santa isn't the only one checking his list. At Lambo Credit Union, we're helping you give the gift that truly lasts. Introducing our Christmas Share Certificates. A gift of saving, a gift of security, a gift of love. Whether you're starting small or saving big, every share brings you closer to your dreams. Share Certificates starts as low as $100 up to $1,000 in share value. A Christmas Share Certificate isn't just a gift, it's a legacy, a promise, a head start for the ones you love. Give the gift of financial freedom this Christmas. Visit either branch of the Lambo Credit Union or call us at 639-5060 to learn more today. Lambo Credit Union, always here for you.
Tobago.
This coming Wednesday, 17th December, is the last day to buy your winning ticket for
the Queen's Royal College 3-car raffle.
I want a piece of pot. I want a piece of pot from the Christmas.
First prize is a luxurious, fully loaded Royal Ride Ford Ranger. Draw date Saturday, December 20th at the school. Tickets only $100. All proceeds for the further uplifting of the school. Tickets available from islandetickets.com. Stumpy's Emporium Canaan, Cad Supermarket Lowlands, Terry Brown Supermarket Mount Pleasant, Pablo Supermarket Argyle, Miles Almondo's and Company Limited Scarborough, Yachts Marketing, TV Mart Bonaccord, Cost Cutters, Sharon Bookstores Lowlands, Police Credit Union, Caribbean Jewelers Lowlands, Jade Monkey Bar Milford Road Crown Point.
Don't be lucky and coward. Get your tickets now.
Queen's Royal College Christmas 3-car raffle.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood. or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49SWIFT 4979438.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
What's on your Christmas wish list? And can you do it with $75,000 at 0.75%? Bethel Credit Union is making your Christmas wishes come true with our 75 in 25 Christmas loan sale. Get up to $75,000 in loans at a special 0.75% interest rate as we celebrate 75 years of service, strength, and community. So, whether it's home upgrades, holiday travel, or treating the ones you love, we've got you covered. Bethel Credit Union, we see you and we're here for you.
This Christmas, Santa isn't the only one checking his list. At Lambo Credit Union, we're helping you give the gift that truly lasts. Introducing our Christmas Share Certificates, a gift of saving, a gift of security, a gift of love. Whether you're starting small or saving big, every share brings you closer to your dreams. Share Certificates starts as low as $100 up to $1,000 in share value. A Christmas Share Certificate isn't just a gift, it's a legacy, a promise, a head start for the ones you love. Give the gift of financial freedom this Christmas. Visit either branch of the Lambo Credit Union or call us at 639-5060 to learn more today. Lambo Credit Union, always here for you.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And we have in studio with us Sergeant Joseph Jordan of the TTPS, and he's here to give us crime updates and some Christmas safety tips. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning to you. Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Thanks for having us. We are glad to be here on this festive time of the year to give our usual updates and tips as it relates to safety and crime. I'll go straight into it as it relates to the statistics for the Tobago division. So we are going to compare the period of January 1st to December 8th based on our CAPA statistics. As it relates to serious report crimes, which we also refer to as SRCs, we would have recorded 746 last year. We had a slight increase by 1%, which has taken us now to 753. Mm-hmm. That increase, minimal, however, we would have had a greater detection rate as compared to last year. Last year, our detection rate stood at 31%. This year, for that said period, it stands at 36%. The crimes that are affecting the Tobago division are what we would refer to as general larceny, break-ins, and sexual offenses. Those offenses actually contribute a whole lot to our crimes in Tobago. Sexual offenses, by its nature, are generally solved because those are sometimes somebody would report it, so you would know that it would have been a young person, an adult these crimes under the Sexual Offences Act. So that detection rate for those offences are generally good. As it relates to the break-in, many times that can be a challenge because these break-ins are where persons would have left their house, persons would have entered, taken whatever, there is no sign or evidence in some instances. And this is where, as we speak to persons, we encourage persons to have the necessary security, lighting, CCTV, dogs, do what is necessary to protect your homes, as well as business places, because especially during this time of the year, these are the crimes that are going to be challenging, right? So what we want to encourage persons to do is, if you know something, or as I say, if you see something, say something, protect yourself. The crimes in Tobago are relatively consistent. The murders in particular has significantly decreased, because for that period, our comparable period in 2024, we'd have recorded 25 murders, unfortunately. However, this year we'd have recorded 9. The solve rate is generally high, above 50%. So solve rate for murders are good, but at the end of the day, when somebody's life is lost, it cannot be replaced. So we are glad that our murder figures are down. However, we would prefer to have 0. Go back to those good old days when we used to have 1 and 0. Yeah, that is more inclined to the Tobago space. Because we love and harmony, that is what we are accustomed to. So basically, that is what we have as it relates to the Tobago Division statistically updates.
So you spoke about detection rate earlier, and you were mentioning when it comes to sexual offences, it's easier to detect those as opposed to, well, not easier to detect those, but the detection rate for those are a lot higher than the other crimes. Would you say that for this year, since the detection rate was higher, is it that there were more sexual offences this year as opposed to, or is it was there more work done in terms of helping the police in terms of detection rates and the things that they would need to do to ensure that they solve the crimes that we have here?
All right, so the detection rate is a general analysis of all the crimes, right? So, as I would have indicated, let's say, for example, murder. The murders detection rate is actually, I think, about 63%. Now, that might be very high for murder. However, break-in, the percentage let's use an example, might be about 12%. So when you do the average, it brings down the overall detection rate. As it relates to sexual offences, many of the time, these crimes are detected. So if an instance of a rape, you may know your attacker. Sometimes we have offences such as sexual intercourse with a minor, incest and these things, you know the perpetrator. So that is why, generally, those offences are detected. We have actually had an increase in sexual offences from last year to this year. And yes, the detection rate may be high, but the figures are still increasingly alarming.
And so would you say in the case of Tobago, a lot of the, well, it's stated that sometimes, but in terms of rapes itself, I want to get specific to rapes itself, it's most times in the case in Tobago that these rapes are committed by persons known to the victim, or is it that it's more of a 50-50? Because I know a lot of times persons are raped by strangers. Is that not the case in Tobago?
All right. So rape is not one of the crimes, the sexual offences crime that is really prevalent. Now, there are a series of offences under the Sexual Offences Act, right? So what we have in particular is sexual intercourse with minors. So persons under the age of 18 would have relationship with older persons. However, under our current law, you can't give consent if you're not 18 years and older. So it automatically becomes rape or sexual offense. To have things like grooming and all these things, because as a young person or as a child, as the definition being 17 years old or 17 years and younger, you cannot consent to any sexual activity. So those are some of the things that actually clears up the offenses. Point to note, in instances like, let me say, sexual abuse or sexual crimes happening within a home, would be repeated. So every time that person is charged for an offense, that actually increases the count. So
every incident is one charge.
Every incident is one charge. So you may have coming out of a sexual offense, or when it's detected, you would find sometimes you might have about 10 counts, because it would have happened January, February, March, and going down. So that is what caused the increase in the statistics or the frequency in the sexual offense rate. So it's not a situation where persons or females are randomly raped and violent crimes. Sometimes these are more crimes of passion. They are familiar with the persons. It is incest. It's sometimes sexual offenses with persons who are mentally subnormal. Persons take advantage of them. Sometimes they are young individuals who, I would say,
impressionable.
Right, impressionable, not aware of what is going on. So these are the things that actually contributes to these high sexual offenses in the Tobago division, by extension Trinidad.
I know, I want to ask you something. I don't know if you can answer this, but if we have such a high detection rate of sexual offenses in Tobago, why is the detection rate itself not being a deterrent to this activity? There's an increase this year, you said. What do you think is going on that is causing there to be an increase despite there being a high detection rate?
All right, so one of the things that contribute to the high detection rate is the increase in reporting. A lot of persons now are coming forward. Since the establishment of the sexual offences units, child protection unit, you are seeing persons coming forward and reporting crimes. Sometimes they are reporting crimes as far as 10 years back, 15 years. Something might have been going on. They were afraid to say to anyone. So all these are some of the reasons why the detection rate is high, and there's an increase. And it may be a high increase, but it is good that persons are coming forward. They are not suffering in silence. And it is important that information of this nature is given so that persons can relate it to the police and allow us to conduct an investigation. And once the evidence is sufficient, we can bring that perpetrator to justice.
So it's more like you have a better picture of the extent of the situation in Tobago than it is a real increase in terms of...
Yes, that is accurate. We have a pretty and a good understanding as to what the offenses are, how they are committed, and how we can treat with investigating them.
Before we go ahead a little more, I want to touch on the last aspect of the crime updates. But before we go there, I know you mentioned that there are people who are coming forward from years before, 10, 15 years before, and now reporting some of these issues that happened. Now, I know there's a stigma, especially in the public domain, especially in society, when people come out after years of being silent, there's, why didn't you say something? And I think also when persons are coming forward now with that courage to report, they want to know and ensure that when they do make this report, they aren't taken for granted, they aren't looked at as, well, it happened then, why didn't you say something? Because I think that's something that is still very prevalent in society today. How does the TTPS deal with that to comfort anyone who might be looking on right now, who probably went through a situation similar as that?
All right, so one of the coping mechanisms that the Tobago Police Service put forward is we have units we have community policing unit, we have the special victims unit, and they provide counseling for persons. Now, coming forward is one of the ways of healing. And we do encourage persons to come forward, despite it might have been many years ago. And rest assured, we take all crimes seriously. There is no special focus on any specific crime. But these sexual offenses are very much emotional, and they leave deep scars with the victims. So we treat with them in a very professional, courteous, and confidential nature. So sometimes we want to know, but not all the information can be provided to the general public, because sometimes you have to protect the persons, in particular where they are young persons. So in times of the past, there were not many avenues for persons to really come forward. All right, so a lot of persons would have been afraid. Sometimes imagine you're going to report a sexual offenses and a sexual offense rather, and the person you're going to might be working in the station, might be a breadwinner within the home. How are you going to report that and not eat? So all these are factors that person takes into consideration why they may not come forward to report such crimes.
Okay. And this is our last question for this segment before we go into the second segment with you. I mentioned that I'm going to talk about the robbery and larceny now. In Tobago, police have successfully dismantled a robbery ring after 3-month crime spree. Can you give the public a bit of information how that went about? What were some of the things that had to happen? I mean, you wouldn't go into specific detail, but just share with the public what that was and some of the things that were around it.
All right. So, as we indicated in our statistics, our larceny is general larceny is one of the offenses that affects us. So larceny offenses are offenses generally where you may take something from someone or steal from them, as compared to robbery. Now, robbery is instilling fear. So if I were to just take your phone, it would not be robbery. It would be larceny, right? So a lot of people we interchange or interuse these two words. But in the instance of robbery, this is where you instill fear by words, action, offensive weapon, and you demand that that person hand over their goods. Now, in relation to the wave of activities that was happening in Tobago Division that has been solved, what they would have done over the period of time, and this speaks specifically to robbery. What they would have done, they would have gathered information, and through continuous interaction with the public, the victim, persons coming forward, they were able to solve these crimes. And there's no high tech to it. It's just that you have to be persistent and determined. So it is basic policing, patrols, having conversation, making the inquiries, finding out what is going on. If you saw any strange person in your community, these are the things that the police would use to assist in solving crime. So yes, the division has significantly made a dent, I should say, with those type of offenses persons appearing before the court. And sometimes young persons, I think the age range is between 19 and 23 persons involved. And we come back to the home. If we're not instilling certain values at home, these are some of the challenges that we're going to have. And Tobago is a small space. Any crime in Tobago is alarming because we are still not accustomed to this level of violence, crimes against person as well as property.
All right, we want to thank you, Sergeant Jordan, for that. Viewers, we have to go for a short break, and when we come back, we continue our conversations, and now we're talking about tips with respect to fraud. So do us a favor, share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
What's on your Christmas wish list? And can you do it with $75,000 at 0.75%? Bethel Credit Union is making your Christmas wishes come true with our 75 in 25 Christmas loan sale. Get up to $75,000 in loans at a special 0.75% interest rate as we celebrate 75 years of service, strength, and community. So, whether it's home upgrades, holiday travel, or treating the ones you love, we've got you covered. Bethel Credit Union, we see you and we're here for you. Find
Better watch out, you better not cry, better not fight, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town. Hey, he's making a list, he's checking it twice, he's gonna find out who's naughty or nice.
It's Christmas time again, and if you're looking for somewhere to get all your Christmas decorations, you'll find the right place. jingle bells, pine cones, gift boxes, ornaments, flowers, and so much more. And 'tis the season to give. Get a wide variety of toys from dolls, bicycles, racing cars, toy trucks, board and card games, and everything in between. Get your gift wrapping paper and gift bags too. Whatever decorations you need this Christmas, we have it at Terrific Ideas.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure our bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, and we have in studio with us Sergeant Joseph Jordan. We'll continue our conversations, and we're talking about protecting yourself from fraud.
Right. So, thanks again. So this morning we are continuing with our Christmas update as relates to fraud and crime tips. Now, before I even go into that, I want to let's look at the word fraud. Right. So fraud is sometimes generally used, and everybody, but I'm on the fraud, man. And we just use words wisely. So fraud comes out of larceny. It's under the Larceny Act of Trinidad and Tobago, Chapter 11-12. Right, and this is where you would find offenses of larceny and fraud. Now, larceny is basically straightforward. You could just take something from someone. You would have taken it without their permission. The intention was to deprive them permanently.
Mm-hmm.
It is of value. It can be moved. Those are some of the ingredients that qualifies for larceny. As relates to fraudulent offenses, the similar ingredients applies, but it is more of a white collar in nature, what we call white collar crimes. So you would now create a story. So somebody may call you and tell you, my grandmother's sick. You could send some money for me to assist with the bills.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing on your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So you are compassionate. You decided, all right, maybe a family member, it could even be sometime a mere acquaintance, and you send the money. When you do look into it, eventually that the person, their grandmother died about 20 years ago. The money was not used for that purpose, so you were tricked into departing with your money, right? So that would have been done in a kind of in a fraudulent way. So they use words and play on your emotions to get their way, right? As it relates to sometimes of documents, fraud, so something such as forgery. Now, forgery in itself stands on its own, but you may forge a document in order to get goods. So sometimes persons would come to business places with checks signed by a certain person, well, authorized, and it may not necessarily be the owner or the business person signing it. The person might forge the person's signature So they have received goods and services on behalf of this person, but those goods and services never went back to the owner. They would have taken it for their own purpose. So that is a somewhat an example of how fraudulent activities takes place as compared to a strict larceny.
So in the Christmas season, I know it's the time where everyone is shopping, they're looking for gifts, they are browsing Facebook on Marketplace, they are on WhatsApp stories because there are advertisements that are out. What are some of the advice or the tips that you would give to the public to ensure that what they are getting themselves into is actually legit and not a fraud? What are some of the things that they should look for?
Right. So the first thing I want to, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service want to advise members of the public: due diligence, do some checks, do some background checks. Now we have moved into an age where online purchases, TikTok, Facebook Marketplace, these are the platforms to which persons advertise their products. We are not saying that it's not good to purchase items there on these sites. However, you need to make your regular checks, do some background checks as I indicated, to ensure that what you are spending your money on is something worthwhile, and that is for the customer. In relation to the business personnel, a lot of persons are going to come to your businesses, especially during these festive and busy season, with checks, personal, sometimes might be of a personal nature. And one of the red flags I want to put out there, these persons come after 4 in the evening and they come on weekends. The bank is closed. Generally, you cannot verify if this instrument of payment is one of accuracy or genuity. So be very mindful as to when the weekend and when closing hours comes into play, that persons are approaching you to purchase goods and items, because they will go with your items, and when you are trying to call them,
disappear.
Yes, right. Even with as you said, disappearing, what WhatsApp conversations, when persons, some of these scammers, they use disappearing messages.
Yeah.
So you're having this conversation, you are interested in buying a car, so you see an advertisement on, let me say, TikTok or Facebook Marketplace. Yes, you start communicating with that person. And as you indicate that you are interested, it's like, okay, well, if you're interested, we're looking for a Nissan, some Nissan, Toyota, something that would pique your interest. You say, right, well, if you organize, send me your information and send me a down payment, and by this evening, that car could be coming up on the boat. Now, it sounds good, but it's a little extreme.
If it's too good to be true.
It generally is not. Your gut feeling, your intuition. And this is where persons need to do their checks. Sometimes even if you are one that is believing in the technology, sometimes you could check the history of the page, how long it has been existing. Look at the comments. Because when these reports are made to us at the fraud squad, when you do check it, there's very, very little history or comments on that page. And as you send your money, that is the end of the conversation. What they generally want to speak via WhatsApp. If you call and they do answer, and a meeting, have an emergency, somebody sick, somebody in the hospital, those are the excuses that they give. So they are, once again, they're using the emotional aspect of human nature to give them enough time. And when those monies are deposited, whether it be through bank on online transfers, you may actually, sometimes persons go into the bank and make deposits. They are done through MoneyGram, Western Union. From the time you send that money, and they would say, well, send me a screenshot of the transaction. Within about 5-10 minutes, they go to our ATM or whatever, and they withdraw that money. So sometimes, even though persons may go to the bank and report it, the money has already left the account. Right? So I spend a lot of time talking about checks, due diligence, and that is the fundamental of you securing your money. it is Christmas time, be aware of these superficial deals. Something cannot be $5,000, for example, all the time, and because it's Christmas time, you're getting it for $1,500.
Yeah.
The
Red
discounts,
flag.
the
That's a
discounts,
red flag.
right? And
Too good to be true.
red flag. Check it out, because these are how we persons are losing their hard-earned monies. They need to check, double check, ask a question, get some feedback from somebody. And one of the things that we have discovered, when we ask some of our clients, you know anybody who purchased a car from this man? The answer is generally no.
No. Yeah.
And they work in concert. Many a time somebody go put you onto this person. Sometimes somebody you're familiar with, but some of them are sometimes part and parcel of these schemes. Yes.
I have one question.
Sure.
Are there any scams right now that the fraud squad has that they are currently dealing with that people need to be aware of, that is currently circulating in the social media space that people need to be or pay particular attention to?
Right. So there are a number of scams or fraudulent activities that are engaged in the fraud squad in Trinidad and Tobago. I will zero in on one instance in the Tobago space. Now, a lot of persons come to Tobago for vacation, for relaxation. And what we are seeing happening, or the reports that are coming that are engaging us, persons are spending or paying for accommodation in Trinidad. So they would, once again, we're going back to Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp, personal advertising accommodation. And so you would call the number, you would start communicating, you would make a deposit, you would sell right, you could get a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, you're getting pool, self-contained, whatever you want, they're providing it for you. And you will make a deposit, generally, online transaction or a bank deposit. And you would, when you come to Tobago, you go looking for this place, and the place is invisible. You cannot find the place. At that point in time, unfortunately, many of those victims, they come to the station to make a report. Right? There's one that has been prevalent in Tobago, a place called Blue Haven Villa. Many of persons in Trinidad have been caught with that particular place. Now, in the Tobago space, I will speak very blunt about it. There are a place in Tobago called Blue Haven Hotel, and that place is located at Bacalet. The fraud squad of Tobago has engaged the owner of that property to inquire about these Blue Haven villas. And they indicated that that is not part of their business. And we also would have advised that persons or the company put out some stuff on their social media platform indicating that they are not associated with the Blue Haven Villa. Those of us who are familiar with Tobago, even when you're past Blue Haven Hotel, there is a property that is up for sale along the Bacalet Road that has a sign Blue Haven Villa. Now, Blue Haven Villa, from our research, is a company that existed some time back, but it was not a specific villa. It was the name of the company, so it's Blue Haven Villas.
Right.
Right? That company apparently is in the process of selling the property and these things, so there is no accommodation in that specific location that refers to Blue Haven Villa. And we are encouraging persons in Trinidad and Tobago, in particular persons who are coming from Trinidad, check, double check, triple check. Ask somebody in Tobago to check out this place. Ask them to go and visit the property. Ask them to go and speak with the owner or the person that's making the reservation. Let them have a physical outlook as to what is going on with your money. Because it is very unfortunate that you leave Trinidad with your family and expecting to go to a particular place. So part of the trickery or the fraudulent aspect of that specific scam is that they are going to place pictures of various accommodation across Tobago. So these persons are either probably photoshopping and compiling a collage, and so you would see pools, you would see nice settings. For those of us who may be familiar with some of the villas in Tobago, you may be able to identify and say, but wait, this is another place, this is somewhere else. But that would only be applicable for persons who have that knowledge. For persons who don't know better, they would have just said, a nice place, the price looking good, I would make a down payment. So in that aspect, that is one of our fraudulent activity, and that is basically comes under the category of a larceny trick. Or we may expand it to the offense of obtaining by false pretense, because you are now pretending to be somebody or an entity that you have no alliance or no alliance to. So those are some of the things that are engaging us. So you have the Blue Haven Villa instance and the rent-to-own concept. That's another major one. As I did mention it before, persons are making deposits, seeing advertisements, you see a car, they would send you pictures of the vehicle. But one of the interesting things as well, sometimes they send a picture of that vehicle, but they don't show the license plates. Right? Yes. So they are taking pictures of random cars, placing it, and you are now spending your money on something that does not exist.
Sergeant Joseph, I wish we could, Joseph Jordan, sorry. I wish we could continue this conversation, but unfortunately we have to wrap up there. But we want to thank you for coming in and speaking with us about the crime updates and giving us some safety tips to stay safe, whether it's from burglaries or from fraud itself. And we wish the TTPS all the success in continuing keeping Tobagonians safe in this season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for giving us the opportunity. You all have a blessed day as well.
Viewers, we have to go for a short break, and when we come back, we continue with our final interview. So do us a favor, share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
What's on your Christmas wish list? And can you do it with $75,000 at 0.75%? Bethel Credit Union is making your Christmas wishes come true with our 75 in 25 Christmas loan sale. Get up to $75,000 in loans at a special 0.75% interest rate as we celebrate 75 years of service, strength, and community. So, whether it's home upgrades, holiday travel, or treating the ones you love, we've got you covered. Bethel Credit Union, we see you and we're here for you. Find
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, Trinidad and Tobago! Santa Claus is coming to Charon's at Lowlands Mall to stock up on all the goodies for good boys and girls. I'm checking my list, and Charon's has everything I need. Christmas decorations, curtains, toys, and so much more. And the best part? The best prices in town. So hurry down, folks. Visit Charon's today before the shelves are empty. Ho, ho, ho! Charon's at Lowlands Mall, where Christmas shopping starts.
This Christmas, Santa isn't the only one checking his list. At Lambo Credit Union, we're helping you give the gift that truly lasts. Introducing our Christmas Share Certificates. A gift of saving, a gift of security, a gift of love. Whether you're starting small or saving big, every share brings you closer to your dreams. Share Certificates starts as low as $100 up to $1,000 in share value. A Christmas Share Certificate isn't just a gift, it's a legacy, a promise, a head start for the ones you love. Give the gift of financial freedom this Christmas. Visit either branch of the Lambo Credit Union or call us at 639-5060 to learn more today. Lambo Credit Union, always here for you.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. And we have on the line with us Mr. Wendell Eversley, who's a social activist, and he's here to talk about the fight for Dr. Delia Gabriel, an update on that situation from about 7 years ago. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Let me say good morning to the management and staff of Tobago Update. Also, season greetings to you all and season greetings to the citizens of Tobago. I know this year is a hectic season for you all, especially where you all have your internal elections on the 12th of January 2026. Good morning again to all my friends and family in Tobago.
So, Mr. Eversley, let's get straight into it. The Delia Gabriel situation, most people may remember it, but she was a intern doctor that was dismissed due to some outbursts, racial outbursts that she made, and was subsequently dismissed because of it, and it was challenged in the court. So what is the latest with that situation?
Well, good morning again. But let me say, God is great, because 7 years now I've been fighting, begging past and present government, even this present government, for the reinstatement of Dr. Delia Gabriel. I wrote to medical board, I wrote to former health minister, present health minister, former attorney general, current attorney general, former prime minister, current prime minister, former opposition leader, current opposition leader, and everything went on deaf ear, but I never give up. I hold public protests, fast in front of the Ministry of Health, saw the Minister of Health for 7 consecutive days, coming out at lunchtime, going by Mano, watching me in my face, passing me straight, asking him to intervene. And they never intervened, but it had other doctors who did worse than Dr. Delia Gabriel. But nevertheless, I continue pursuing. I went to lawyers, plenty lawyers asked me how much money I have to take up the matter. But I never give up. I know at the end of the day, God bigger than everybody. Sometimes God tests you and see how far you will go until he eventually say enough is enough. And at the court, the industrial court, when the matter called, I was in the courthouse with Dr. Delia Gabriel and the lawyer who represented her and the lawyers for the ministry. And the chairman of the panel, it was 4 judges, he said this matter should be settled. He just outlined it. He said it's overdue and it's long. And he stand on the case and he said, I'll give both sides to settle this matter before I even decide to put it for trial. And when the matter stood down, I get up to leave the court, to leave for the lawyers and them to come to some sort of settlement. And they said, no, Mr. Eversley, you stay. So I was in there and I was part and listening to the agreement both teams coming up to. And one is to reinstate her. too. They have other things to settle. And when the court convened back in less than about 40 minutes, they both indicated to the judge, to the panel of judges, that they want to put it in writing and to put the terms and the condition and the agreements. And I don't want to go into what was discussed, but it will be convening on the 20th of January, 2026 at 1 p.m. at the Industrial Court. And there, the lawyers will be in front of the judge to give the written agreement they came up to. But definitely she will be reinstated. I don't know how long after. And one of the things is that for her also, what was argued is that to make sure that she got her license, to get her a doctor license. So I want to say thank God for all the hard work. I know that day when we left the court, in a matter of fact, in the court hall. Yes?
Eversley, you took us through the entire process of what it was like when you got the ruling from the industrial court about the settlement. Now, the entire reason why this matter has been prolonged is because of discriminatory comments that was made by Dr. Gabriel. Now,
yes,
in the court of public judgment, there are people who would want to know, do you believe that her dismissal was justified based on professional conduct? Because in the realm of taking care of persons, especially when it comes to the medical field, there's a Hippocratic oath. And a lot of people would agree that she was justly dismissed. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say she used a certain word. She apologized publicly on numerous occasions. A matter of fact, when I walked from Woodford Square to the Attorney General office, to the President office, to the Prime Minister office, to the Opposition Leader office, delivering letters, she was there also with me. And in front of all the media houses who came to cover that event, she said she was sorry for using certain words, and she apologized. And I think that, yes, she did use the word, which was unjust. She said why she used it. But then at the same time, we had a Dr. Saw who called African people all sorts of names. I don't want to repeat what he said about us, right? But it was racist remarks. The whole country wrote here about it. I wrote the medical board concerning his remarks. I wrote the Minister of Health concerning his remark. A matter of fact, I even went to the Equal Opportunity Commission. And everybody I went to, the medical board tell me they will hear me, but I have to produce the evidence. When the evidence was in the public domain. So clearly, Dr. Saw get a slap on his wrist and 7-day suspension. Alex Dr. Adel Jagannath, young as Dr. Delia Gabriel, was caught for what? Trafficking drugs. And what they did to him? They charged him about $15,000, a slap on his wrist, and he's back there. It have other doctors. It have a doctor who used the remarks about they getting raped, interfered with, and when you hear the shout, it was a lie. And where they send her? In the next institution to work in. So it showed clearly. And when it comes, I have been receiving a lot of complaints. I could send voice notes for you all. A matter of fact, hello?
Mr. Eversley, we want to stay on course with the conversation that we are having here with Dr. Gabriel's.
But I'm showing how it discriminatory to one race, and when other race getting a tap on the shoulder and move to another institution. Why this young girl? Right?
Mr. Eversley, according to public record as well, based on a document, an article that was published by one of the media houses, it states that a specialist psychiatrist diagnosed Dr. Gabriel with paranoid personality disorder. and that report was sent to the chief medical officer. How much weight do you believe that would have in terms of her reinstatement? Because I know you mentioned that earlier in the conversation.
Well, I would like to know if that a person who gave the report, if it was an independent person who interviewer, who were examiner, right? And who are the person? They never say the person name, right? And if they have a problem, and they say a psychological problem, but they keep saying it and hearing it coming about right through. From all the years I have been interacting with her, interviewing with her on television and all these different things, somebody who have this problem will be given SEA lessons free of charge to SEA students. Somebody who also who have this problem will be working taxi, transporting people and interacting with people on a daily basis. Somebody who's in the market selling shatine, pimento pepper, right, and dasheen. Because if you go to the point you interact with her, it's that I will, from the interaction that I have, the girl is well bright, she's well educated, she challenged you on certain.
Mr. Eversley, having the disorder doesn't mean that you can't function, right? You can function. What I want to find out from you all is, did you all go and get a second opinion in terms of a diagnosis of Dr. Gabriel, or is that first diagnosis still standing?
She went also and get second diagnosis. She also take her own money, right? And went abroad and get reports. But when she sent it back in to them, what they do? Because it was bent to make sure that she not complete her internship, or to make sure that, hey, we are going to see that this girl, because probably her challenges to doctors, to her tutors, right? And they probably say, hey,
So
let us do something about it.
What did the secondary assessment say? Did it diagnose her with the disorder?
No, it did not diagnose her with a disorder.
And all of that was presented in the case.
She present that to the, that didn't present it to the court here, this trip, right? Because probably it probably did present it, and the judges and them look at what was taking place, and that's why they tell them settle it.
Okay.
Now, what assurances do you have to offer members of the public who may still feel uneasy in the event that she is reinstated within the health sector? Because that would always be a topic of concern.
Yeah, but that would be out of my purview, because I can give the assurances, but what I do know, right, she have very high hopes, and she could probably be one of the best doctors in Trinidad and Tobago. That when she go back there and she do what she have to do, or who knows, she might get back back on her foot, because that is what one of her dream. That was her parents sacrifice, work hard. Her parents come and even both mother and father die without even seeing her becoming a doctor, because of what took place and what she was going through. It take a turn on the mother got sick, the father gets sick, and they just probably grieve to know that all that they have done for her daughter, now look what they do. They take away a whole life dream from a child, because from a child we dream of what we would like to become when we get when we become an adult, and they take that from her. She suffered long enough because nobody didn't know what she was going through.
No, Mr. Eversley, in light of what you are saying, beyond this individual case, what lesson should institutions take away about the discipline, the mental health, and due process in the public service, especially when it comes to making statements of this sort, especially in the health sector, where we have the Hippocratic Oath as something that is relevant?
Well, I think it should be across the board, instead of just singling out persons of different race. I think the playing field should be level, and there should be no discrimination when it comes to the medical profession. If someone do something wrong, everybody have to pay for it the same way. Don't give one person a tap on his wrist and the next person a slap in their face. That show completely different. That show complete biasness. And I think we should have laws put in place to deal with discrimination in the workplace from all forms, all forms. And that is one of the major things we are facing in this country called Trinidad and Tobago. In certain fields, and I've been seeing it over and over, there's a lot of discriminations taking place. And I don't want to go into it because it have professors who talk about it also too, and we see nothing have been done about it. And I will speak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eversley. Unfortunately, we have to end the interview there, but we want to thank you very much for shedding light on this issue and being so persistent with it with Dr. Gabriel. And we hope that all things work out for the good in the end.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, unfortunately, we have come to the end of the morning show, but the Tobago Updates programming continues. Up next, we have GMT with Chanel Felix. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. GMT is up next.
This year's summit, it takes a slight different approach compared to last year. Based on the persons who had came, the students who had came, we felt that we should have a section focused for the students because that is where the agri-technology would start from, where the innovators are. So this year we take our focus on the students as well as we incorporated different persons within the country of Trinidad and Tobago. And we got exhibitors from right here on this island who are invested in innovation and agriculture and technology.
Produce Tobago is an online multi-vendor marketplace website which facilitates buying and selling along the agricultural value chain. So if you are selling agricultural inputs like fertilizer or seedlings, you can sell on the website. If you're an agro-processor, you could also sell your pepper sauces, your nuts, that sort of stuff on the website. Even if you provide agricultural services, as it says, it's agricultural technology, and I think that this is innovative in and of itself to bridge gaps in the agricultural landscape. So I felt like it was important to bring it to the people of Tobago.
I help companies, farmers, food processors, anywhere along the value chain, build and implement their food safety and quality management systems, as well as an educator, because that's where it starts. I think that it is important because it helps you not only be current and up to date, but with so many changes happening in the climate, it's important to leverage technology so that you don't be at a loss. Why not use the technology that we have available to us? Don't be afraid of it, to empower your operations so that you can be more efficient, effective, and profitable in the long run.
Well, I'm here at the summit today to learn more about agriculture and to know how far agriculture can get. So normally I might think, well, agriculture is hard work, you had to labor, but coming to the summit teach me that how, well, agriculture is getting easier.
It's indeed a pleasure to be here today at the summit. On one hand, we're here to learn and grow as well, because, you know, with education, it's a thing that you keep learning as you go on. At the same time, we're also here to provide information on the impacts of forestry and the relevant information to stakeholders who will be here today.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
And welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and guys, you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want had, and while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. On Saturday evening, the People's National Movement gathered at the Magdalena Grand Golf and Beach Resort for the official campaign launch and the launch of its prospective candidates ahead of the Tobago House of Assembly election. Speaking to a ballroom packed with supporters, political leader of the Tobago Council, Ansel K. Dennis, said the party's comprehensive manifesto will be released to the public in exactly 8 days from that date, some of which included 7,000 new jobs and infrastructural plans. Also addressing the crowd was Minority Leader Kelvin Morris, who urged former PNM members, now turned TPP, Keegan Denoon, Letitia Charles Panton, and Nigel Tate, and members of Parliament, Joel Notsi Sampson, to return to the fold and serve under the People's National Movement. Meanwhile, party political leader and opposition leader Penelope Beckles sent a stern warning to Chief Secretary Farley Augustine to stay clear of PNM's business. The party has since released its schedule district nightly political meetings. Additionally, the Council of Responsible Political Behavior has announced its intention to monitor the Tobago House of Assembly 2026 election campaign to evaluate all political parties, candidates, and their supporters' adherence to the Code of Ethical Political Conduct. In a media release Saturday, December the 13th, the council said beginning Monday, December 15th, it will begin the process. And finally, Tobago Police has launched an investigation following the discovery of the body of a man in Buku. Police say the body of Lyndon DeLeon, a resident of the area, was found along the Belma Trace extension in Buku. Victim is 47 years old. Officers are currently conducting inquiries to determine the circumstances surrounding the death, and more details would be brought to us in a subsequent newscast. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Guys, this morning we jump straight ahead into our conversation, and we are speaking all things education, all things teachers, and whenever we're having that conversation, that means we're talking to tutor. This morning we're talking with the Tutor Tobago representative, Mr. Braden Roberts. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and good morning to all viewing and listening to the program.
Excellent. So persons may not know, but your term as the Tutor Tobago representative is slowly winding down.
and as there are internal elections that will be happening in January. And so even as you round up your terms in office, tell us about that overall experience for you and what does this period, represent for you? Is it bittersweet? Are you ready to, move on and do something different? Just tell us about that.
Right, so it is definitely a bittersweet moment. Serving the members in Tobago and functioning on the national level as well, where we meet with the CPU, where we meet with the ministry and so forth, Teaching Service Commission, it has been developmental for myself as well. I would have not grown up to be a public speaker, having that confidence to be even on an interview, being on television and so on. My writing skills would have been developed with the necessary reporting and so on that were required of me. So tutor would have done a lot for me, and with the members and their needs would have fueled me throughout the time to ensure that I give of my best. I also love teaching, so I have no issue going back to the classroom to teach. I would trust that the officer who would replace, because the elections is on the 20th of January, the successful candidate, I trust that he will also serve well, and I would be of assistance as much as they are willing to receive the assistance for as long as they are able to get running and so on, as we would all want that person to do. So yes, it has been developmental. There are some disappointments. I would have really loved to have the leave classification issue resolved, the contract teacher matter resolved. However, you don't ignore the earlier blows to a rock when you have that final blow that breaks it. So the rocks, the blows that you would have hit before have some impact on that rock until it finally breaks. So I know that work would have gone in to advancing the topic on leave classification and the contract teachers, and I trust that the next officer coming in will follow up and ensure that we get the breakthrough that we want.
Understood. And what would you say are some of the major milestones or successes of your tenure as a Tobago tutor representative?
Well, definitely ensuring that all members in the teaching fraternity would have felt that representation. So we would have had the third schedule members. Those are the supervisors, curriculum officers, student support service. Those persons would have transitioned from the public service to the teaching service. They would have had several challenges in that transition. We are still experiencing some challenges where they are not yet on the salary scale. Working through the interim allowance payments, working to ensure that the curriculum officers are scheduled as traveling officers. They were not scheduled as those in Trinidad were scheduled, as there was the belief that Tobago is small, so these officers don't need to be traveling. But if the post is a traveling post, there is no need to oppress those who are in Tobago. So ensuring that the third scheduled persons felt that representation, we would have had periods of increments, back pay, not being paid on time, ensuring that the division would have done their part in so doing. We would have had long-standing issues. There were persons who took the SORT program, like the Special Anti-Crime Unit of Trinidad and Tobago. They did not do the requisite leave for those persons to go on that program. Those persons would have been stuck without that continuity, as there was no measure put in place to resolve it. So, having the conversations with the CPU, with the administrator, with the ministry as to how we can have it resolved, those kind of things I would say are some of the successes in that. Having that relations and that connection with the CPU, with the ministry where I could personally contact persons, with the Teaching Service Commission, those would be the major highlights throughout my term. There were many minor battles won, but the main ones I would say is bridging that gap with Tobago, connecting directly with the functionaries in Trinidad.
Understood. And even as it pertains to the leave classification, that conversation has been happening for a while, and we heard some recent updates from the Secretary for Education that should be taking place right here in Tobago. Why have you not also seen that as being an accomplishment as well, or do you think that it has not yet been stabilized to truly claim it as something that has been done?
Well, I do not claim things that are not complete. And I would want the secretary to have the same attitude. The secretary to me don't know what is happening with the leaf classification issue. Tutor has been the entity that has been pushing this leaf classification issue. So we meet with all the stakeholders. We meet with the CPO, we meet with the ministry, we meet with the division, and we do all the legwork. The THA writing to have the authorization sent to Tobago, given to Tobago, was tutors pushing for that. We had, even with Orlando Kerr, former Tobago officer, used to carry documents from Tobago to Trinidad, try to walk it through in the ministry, bring them back. I took over and started doing some of the same things, and then I realized, why is there this need for us to be going to Trinidad for this thing? We started lobbying for the authorization to be given to the THA, and strange enough, you know, we had to force the THA to do some of the things that they should have been the ones pushing for. So we would have asked of the administrator and the chief administrator to write to the ministry requesting it, because when we were lobbying for it in Trinidad, they said they got no request. It's just tutor asking for the authorization. I'm very disappointed to hear in the media that they're going through the Attorney General for a legal notice. They did not need to go that route. I do not believe that they fully understand what needs to be done. So they would have, that is one route they can go, yes, to go through the cabinet, but the minister is the one that should have signed the authorization letter. They could have gone to cabinet subsequently while Tobago work on those outstanding leave classification. They have not done that. They have sent it to the Attorney General. The Attorney General does not have this matter at his attention. We have been doing behind the scenes work trying to get the permanent secretary to have the Attorney General take up that piece of document that he could be able to advance it. And tutor doing all this legwork where you would have persons come to the media and say things that they don't know what is happening. So it's not that the Attorney General have this on his desk working on it, you know. So teachers in Tobago suffering with this leave classification issue, I would not be able to come here and say it's a success for me. The secretary, the chief administrator and so on should be able to advance these matters with all the work that tutor is doing behind the scenes. We have walked this thing through for years. And I'm really disappointed. We have 4 persons who left classrooms and in the THA now, you know. The secretary, the chief secretary, we had an assistant secretary of education and an advisor. All 4 persons came from the education system. And to see that tutor is almost on its own. I see the minister talking about collaboration and us working together, advancing it. The tutor is in the background, pushing all that legwork. And I'm very disappointed that they had some random persons in the ministry signing the authorization letter, which was only the minister could do. Instead of correcting that, they're going through this long period of Attorney General having to do some legal notice. Are the Attorney General focused on this?
Understood. Were you present when the last time that the Minister of Education was in Tobago, and were you able to, have this conversation and bring it to his attention?
Right. So no tutor was not invited. I am not surprised that they did not invite the association. You see, persons are good talkers. So with tutor in the room, knowing, because we know a lot of the background stuff, That's why I'm able to come and speak to matters. We are in the engine room, so we know what happens on particular desks and so on. The public don't know that. So they could come and speak nice things. And it comes across to the people that, they're working really hard and the initiatives sound good and so on. But it's not the case. So I'm not surprised that they would not invite tutor. When they speak things that I would know is not true, I would be able to address it right away. They would not want that. They brought up documents from Tobago, missing a lot of key information. So the leave that was sent to Trinidad, they brought them back up in boxes. Original medical certificates which are required are missing. So we are now lobbying to have the ministry do an authorization for the copies that the division would have had, because you cannot use copies in classifying leave. You will not be able to get those leave, the medical certificates for 10, 15, 20 years, because that is the length of time people waiting to get a leave classified.
Wow.
So you have finding no doctor who can do over leave a medical certificate for 15 years, 10 years. So we are now lobbying to have them to certify the copies that they have. So I'm really disappointed in the effort of the key functionaries of the division. You know, I don't know that they are fully aware, where they are probably briefed at some stages, but they're not hands-on on these matters to know actually what needs to take place.
Understood. And, finally, as it pertains to some of the contracts and stuff like that, we've heard from the Secretary for Finance that gratuities are one of the top priority within this current fiscal year. Are you confident that a number of teachers who were waiting for those increments and gratuities would be able to benefit from that this year?
Well, we are actually at the juncture of having conversations with our attorney to take it legal. We see the promises. I would have asked of the National Executive to hold on the attorney, seeing that they made promises for payments before Christmas. So thank God we're in an election season, so they want to make fulfill some promises. The complication is with the PSA having their negotiations settled and have to do the advance payments. The same staff who say about that before Christmas have to also say about the gratuity.
Right.
So I'm not certain how much they'll be able to process for before Christmas. We should meet with the division on that same election day for the Tobago officer on the 20th of January. So I'll be able to get an update as to how many persons they were able to pay. But it's unfortunate that persons waiting years. Now this is the same secretary who took the division to the court for the same thing. For the exact same thing. So, but thank God there's an election and they're trying to fulfill promises. The bigger issue of the establishment so that we don't have the prevalence of contract teachers, it's another disappointment. And that's why I don't celebrate things that are not complete. The last audit that they did a report on never came to tutor. I don't know why they bypassed tutor this time, because we were able to highlight some of the issues in the previous audits. They carried it to the ministry. The ministry raised some concerns, and the administrator and her team are yet to see when they will be able to answer those concerns from the ministry. So I don't even know when we will be able to make any advancement where the establishment and contract teachers are concerned. And I hear them on the political platform. I would want them to be honest and not be illusionists. They need to put in the work consistently. Because what happens when you take up a matter, there are so many things in education, you know. Education is not easy to manage at all. So when maxi taxi drivers or MTS and all those other things, when you put down the contract teacher matter, you're very busy in other things. So you need to hammer things out to a position where they could flow and not just touch and go as they have been doing for some years.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning and wishing you all the best in your future endeavors outside of tutor and back in the classroom. So we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Tobago.
This coming Wednesday, 17th December, is the last day to buy your winning ticket for
the Queen's Royal College 3-car raffle.
I want a piece of pot. I want a piece of pot from the Christmas.
First prize is a luxurious, fully loaded Royal Ride Ford Ranger. Draw date Saturday, December 20th at the school. Tickets only $100. All proceeds for the further uplifting of the school. Tickets available from islandetickets.com. Stumpy's Emporium Canaan, Cad Supermarket Lowlands, Terry Brown Supermarket Mount Pleasant, Pablo Supermarket Argyle, Miles Almondo's and Company Limited Scarborough, Yachts Marketing, TB Mart Bonaccord, Cost Cutters, Sharon Bookstores Lowlands, Police Credit Union, Caribbean Jewelers Lowlands, Jade Monkey Bar Milford Road Crown Point.
Don't be lucky and coward. Get your tickets now.
Queen's Royal College Christmas 3-car raffle.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
What's on your Christmas wish list? And can you do it with $75,000 at 0.75%? Bethel Credit Union is making your Christmas wishes come true with our 75 in 25 Christmas loan sale. Get up to $75,000 in loans at a special 0.75% interest rate as we celebrate 75 years of service, strength, and community. So, whether it's home upgrades, holiday travel, or treating the ones you love, we've got you covered. Bethel Credit Union, we see you and we're here for you. Find
Oh, Merry Christmas, Trinidad and Tobago! Santa Claus is coming to Charon's at Lowlands Mall to stock up on all the goodies for good boys and girls. I'm checking my list, and Charon's has everything I need. Christmas decorations, curtains, toys, and so much more. And the best part? The best prices in town. So hurry down, folks. Visit Charon's today before the shelves are empty. Ho, ho, ho! Charon's at Lowlands Mall, where Christmas shopping starts.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Deltec Distributors Christmas Specials is here. Choose from our festive meat packages at unbeatable prices, perfect for your holiday feast. Hurry! Limited packages. Order now. Package 1, $4.99. 11 pounds of leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 liter pear jacks. Package 2, $4.99. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey cubes, 1 chicken ham, 1 liter pear jacks. Package 3, $600. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey wings, 1 whole turkey, 1 liter pear jack. Package 4, $535. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey wings, 3 pounds fish ham, 1 liter pear jacks for $359-5040 or 237-0102. Delivery available for just $20. Deltec Distributors, Main Road, Argyle, Tobago.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. We continue our discussion this morning, and we are chatting with the Council for Responsible Political Behavior. We have a number of guests in studio with us this morning, and I'll start from closest to me, Dr. Bishnu Raghunath, who is the Council's chair, and we have Miss Patlina Titus as well as our very own Curtis Williams. Good morning and welcome, everyone.
Morning. Thank you. Good morning.
Dr. Raghunath, can you tell us a bit about the function of the Council for Responsible Political Behavior? Because people hear about it, but some persons may not know the exact role.
All right. So ever since 2014, civil society organizations in Trinidad and Tobago had come together and developed a code of ethical political conduct. They then invited the political parties at that point in time, because that was leading up to the 2015 general election, to sign on to the code and say that they will abide by the code. And all the political parties contesting the 2015 general election signed on at that point in time. Political leaders came and signed. So it was from that basis that we started. Now the code is to set up what we call prohibited conduct for political parties, candidates, supporters. So for instance, when you campaigning, keep it clean, don't character assassinate anybody, don't focus on issues, those sorts of things. As well as, when you campaign and do not deface other people's posters and campaign boards and so on. So those are the kinds of prohibited conduct that we would speak about, and we ask people to upkeep the conduct and keep the speech clean. Don't mudsling all the time. Let us focus on issues. So that was the role of the code, and we've been doing it ever since 2015. We were here in 2017 for the THA elections. In 2021, again, we came back, and in 2021, we had the political leaders signing. Tracy Davidson had signed for the PNM. Well, Farley Augustine had signed for the PDP. Dennis Oyafat had signed. Hector had signed. Several, Nikosi had signed. So we had various people signing on to the code in 2021. We know after every election term, parties change, people change, and so on. So whereas Farley Augustine would have signed as PDP, then we now have to ask him to sign on as TPP, right? But apart from that, what we say is that the party would have signed, not the individual, right? So in the case of the PNM, as far as we're concerned, the PNM had signed then, and their signature still stands, right?
And Ms. Titus, tell us a bit about, enforcement. Although it's something that people voluntarily participate in, nobody forces them to do so. But how is it enforced? And is it that you notice that they are going against the code of conduct and you call them in to have a discussion about it? What is the level of enforcement that's available?
Well, you will realize that I am new. I am just joining so I think Dr. Agonat would be best able to answer that. But from my reading, you cannot force anybody to do anything. It's more like blaming and shaming or something like that, moral suasion, but not, enforcing. But Dr. Agonat could tell you more about it than I could.
Well, exactly. We have no teeth, literally. We are toothless bulldog, but and what we do is we try moral suasion. So basically, what we do, we try to monitor as much of the campaign as we can. But I mean, bear in mind, it's only 8 of us on the council. We can't be everywhere and see everything. So we invite members of the public to submit to us complaints where they would have found breaches in the code. And once they submit it, we'll then review the complaints. If they have video evidence, if they have photographs, whatever, we'll review it and then we'll pronounce on it. How we pronounce on it is simply after we meet as a council and we make a decision as to whether somebody has breached the code or not, we will then issue a media release for the media to publicize it, because literally the people who sign in on the code may not necessarily know anything about what is going on. So for instance, somebody may go and stick somebody else's candidate poster on somebody else's or rip down another person's own. But that has nothing to do with the political leader or the candidate or anybody like that. So the idea here is to let them know that this is your party breaching the code, and we don't have that direct link with the political parties, so we do it through a media release, because as far as we're concerned, the party would have been a signatory to the code. They would have understood what are the ethical conduct and prohibited conduct, and we want them to try to bring their party in line. And when their members may falter, they have to actually tell them that they faltered. Of course, many a times, the political leaders and the candidates who will falter, but again, we have no control over them, so we ask it. And then the point about it is, once you sign on to the code, you accept that this is what you are going to abide by and adhere to. But of course, if you are breaching it, we leave it up to the population to decide whether that's acceptable or not.
Who they want to vote for or not. Mr. Williams, tell us how we can access this code of conduct for persons who are wondering if the things that they're seeing actually breaches the code of ethical political conduct.
Sure. There's a website, and I can quote the website, www.politicalethicsinc.org. tt.org. That site can lead you to where the code of ethics lies. There will be a phone number soon that will be issued.
No, well, everything is on the on the website.
On the website,
but
yes.
the phone number, a WhatsApp phone number, we could give you it at 793-4505.
Okay, fine.
And you could send us an email at info@politicalethicst.org.
Great.
Excellent. And Dr. Raghunath, tell us about what does the monitoring process include of these political entities? Is it that you are visiting, because you indicated that that would start soon, monitoring for the upcoming THA elections. What does that really include?
Well, what it does, you see, monitoring is we only monitor a campaign, right? And to that extent, what we will do is simply, like for instance, I am in Trinidad, most of my other members are in Trinidad. We try to probably follow on some of the campaign that is presented on the media, whether streaming off your television station or any others, or YouTube or whatever. So we try to follow some of that, as well as we follow what is being published in the press. And so from the electronic media as well as the print media, we try to follow what is going on. If we pick up things, for instance, we then immediately identify it. We also invite the members of the public who are following social media more than us, and who are the ones who are participating in social media. If they see somebody presenting something that is not in keeping with the code, well, then we now have to.
Right. And Ms. Titus, even as the political culture evolves in Trinidad and Tobago, and we're trying to move away from this type of dirty politics, the one that discourages even young persons from wanting to be a part of it, why is it important that political parties truly embrace this code of conduct moving forward?
Well, as you said, we're trying to move away from the dirty politics, the mudslinging and that kind of thing. And we hope that the persons who are in leadership position will encourage their followers not to embrace that kind of thing. It is important because we all live on a small island, and we all have to live here after the election. So we're hoping that the animosity will not be such that it would carry over into the life after elections.
Right. And Mr. Williams, do you think that by embracing this type of code, we can create a new culture? And does it include any kind of environmental aspects to the monitoring as well? Like, for instance, I remember a long time ago, you used to see a lot of posters all over in the environment, a bit polluting. And now you see them shifting away from the smaller posters to, bigger banners, more billboards, some things that are a bit more environmentally friendly. So is there that environmental component to it as well?
Well, as I can tell you, from signing on the code, the Chamber have been part of this. Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce have been part of the committee from since then. The Tobago division now came on, and I am the representative for the Tobago division. So it was really good to see that we want to see the type of the election standard lift in Tobago to move to that professional standard. We already seen, because we start monitoring from today, but prior to us monitoring, the campaign started, and we already seen in spaces where things have gone, the threshold for the code, some parties already break the threshold. And so again, it's just to alert all the parties, get them on to sign. Remember, the only time we could know that you're really representing the specific areas after nomination day. Sure. So we hope that after nomination day now, then we can really hold you, let's say, tight to it, as the case may be. But we will be monitoring as things go by as to what you do and how you go about your campaigning, both the leaders and the different representatives for the various areas. So we want a clean and really safe election in Tobago. Tobago have, from the past history, we have been really, really clean in our election. Sometimes some folks get overboard. in the excitement. So we're trying to tell the various parties to control your supporters, make sure that we have a nice and clean election, because the next day we all have to live and function in this space.
Correct. Dr. Raghunath, tell us about some of the things that are included in the code for political, ethical political conduct that persons may not know or may have overlooked or thought that this may not have been that much of a serious thing. You know, what exactly is ethical political conduct when we look at it as a whole?
Okay, so to start with, the first thing we don't want people to get down to the gutter level and mudsling, character assassinate, those sorts of things.
Right, but some persons may also say to you, well, that's a part of the politics.
Well,
we always have a little pecan.
No, there's one thing between pecan and getting into that dirty gutter politics. In fact, yesterday as I got into Tobago, the first thing I was told was simply that Mr. Dennis, I think, had made a speech saying that he's not going to go that level in this election. But the point about it is that's the first thing. But apart from that, right, there are also other kinds of things that, you know, people make false declarations, defamatory allegations, character assassination, at times even inciting violence and hatred amongst people, right? So those are some of the things that we don't want. And as you mentioned that issue with regard to the environment, for instance, when we tell people, you know, you put up your posters, make sure you don't deface other people's posters and whatever else. One part of that, however, tells us is that, you know, you're supposed to clean it up after the election, right? I mean, hopefully within some good space of time. I mean, but you're supposed to clean it up. Of course, we know that many a times, if you look, the people who lose don't even come back and look back at what is happening. But those are some of the things that we want to do. The issue with criticizing private lives of candidates, their families, and so on, that is something that we should not encourage, right? We should not encourage people to threaten other people, and I mean, that's within the law, and to tell you to come and buy a vote or pay. So those are things that we want to discourage. And basically, that's the ethical conduct that we are asking people to maintain. And not permit your supporters to simply think that they have the freedom to do whatever they want. You as the political leader, you as a candidate, you have to tell your supporters how to behave and keep them reined in the context. Now, again, no political leader, no candidate could tell every member, don't do this or don't do that. But the point about it is that there are limits to which we must go, and people must understand that.
Excellent. You know, unfortunately, we are a bit out of time this morning, but even as from the perspective of the chamber, Mr. Williams, is there anything specific, you know, as it pertains to the code of conduct that you are looking forward to in this upcoming THA election?
Well, we're looking forward to a clean campaign, not only clean in the sense that, because part of the code is that after your public meeting, you're supposed to tidy up and keep the environment clean. So you're supposed to move away all your paper and all this stuff that you left there after the campaigning. So that you asked that question early on. So yes, that's part of the code in tidying up your spaces after the election. We at the Tobago division, we definitely want a clean campaign. We want the standard of the campaign to rise in Tobago, so that the others can look at Tobago as a template and how we do politics and how we care about ourselves. Keeping in mind that the next day, the 13th of January, we all have to live and survive in this small space, right? And I think it's important that we look at all the definition and that we mention the character, and so those things are just not for the space. Let's come with facts. Let's come with proper facts. Talk all that you have to say, and let's see what the outcome will be on the 13th.
Ms. Titus, what about you? Are you looking forward to anything in particular in this upcoming THA?
I just want to echo the sentiments that Mr. Williams said. A clean campaign. You know, long ago the camaraderie was there, even though you had different political parties, but you know, there was a sort of camaraderie between people. But we have seen that change over the years. I hope they will, you know, something like that will come back, because as I said, we all have to live here after. So let us have a clean, non-violent election campaign, and you know.
Excellent. Dr. Rabin, I want to thank you so much for being in Tobago and, you know, making sure that you have your team that's on the ground and doing what needs to be done to ensure ethical behavior within this upcoming THA election. I think it's going to be really exciting, and we look forward to an eventful election season. Well, as I indicated, we have come to the end of our discussion this morning, but we want to thank you again for being here and ensuring that you, although you may be the toothless bulldog, that you really have your key function to keep the politicians and the political parties and the supporters in alignment with a higher standard of political conduct. It's not just for the politicians, but even persons as supporters, to create an environment that, you know, makes or raises the quality of politics on a whole, the way we hold persons accountable for the offices that they are in, but also being able to create an environment where persons are more willing to step forward and represent their community and represent ideas that may be opposite to the popular idea. Maybe persons want to bring new concepts or new ways of understanding into what currently exists in Tobago and Tobago's development. Are we open-minded enough to accept different views and perspectives without attacking persons on a personal level for their opinions or wherever they sit or stand on the political spectrum? So that's something for you to think about your own political conduct during this season. But unfortunately, we come to the end of this morning's discussions, and again, I want to thank you so much for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.